The untold story of American white supremacy. I mean, I just read about the Indian land grab, and I'm like, my gosh, man, good Lord. No wonder we don't want to teach the truth. No wonder we don't want to teach the truth, because that means we've got to look people in the face and say our forefathers were the worst people in the history of mankind. The things that they did, that manifest destiny, that kind of mentality has been atrocious. What we have done to the African Americans. The estimated number of wealth that came from slavery, from free labor, and that's what it was. And they estimate that the amount of money that came from slavery was around $24 trillion. You can't even grasp that much money. The average person has a hard time grasping what $1 billion is. $1 trillion. Holy shit. And a lot of people don't want to admit the truth, because a lot of people also are scared that what happens if I'm going to jump in this tomorrow.
And you currently control various strategic regions in geopolitics. You push yourself into the center of everybody's business, and you convince yourself that you are so numerous and you're so powerful and you're all consuming on the planet. But I have to say to you, this is just a myth. You are the minority on the planet. The black man is the majority. And if we thought like you, as I said before, you wouldn't be here. But it's because we are merciful. It is because we are the most loving and kind people you have ever met. That's why you could enslave us for 400 years. And sometimes there'd be thousands of slaves on the plantation and just a couple of hundred white people. But yet you lived, because we're not wicked and vengeful. Because your enslavement of us was actually ordained, and you were meant to rule for a time. But now your time to rule is up. Your time to rule is finished. And so, where you've gone all around the world, and you've made mischief, and you've made trouble, and you've enslaved, and you've colonized, and you have manipulated other people's realities and brought them under your control, those days are rapidly coming to an end. Those days are over. And we want the black man to realize that your time is now. It is your time, black man, to come back into your power. Not come into power in order to subjugate and in order to oppress other people like they did to us, but come into power to bring back the balance, to bring back the freedom, justice, and equality to our planet. Because if it's left to white people, those of you who look into the United Nations and the 5 permanent, liars, or the 5 permanent powers to bring about peace on our planet, you'll be waiting for eternity. It's never going to happen. The United Nations was never set up to bring about unity and parity and equality of the nations on the planet. It was set up as another tool of domination for a few power brokers on the planet. This is why whenever they're ready to ignore the edicts of the Security Council, like Israel and America and Britain, they can ignore it. This is why the so-called International Criminal Court only prosecutes Africans, black and brown leaders, not war criminals like Tony Blair, not war criminals like George W. Bush. Trump was under the impression that he could go in there and do something different. Trump is a nationalist. He's He's a little Americana. He believes in closing the borders and being a nationalist and make America great again. And by the way, make America great again is only code for make America white again. But America was never white. This is something else you need to learn. It was never white. It was stolen from the indigenous people. And it was Africans, enslaved Africans, who built America. We built the White House. We drew out and mapped Washington. We did all of it. And those of you, because some of you still think, oh, black people, those little inferior people that you need to go to Africa and help, you need to think again. You don't understand who they came and found in Africa and who they destroyed as a human reality systematically over hundreds of years using a system of tyranny and white supremacy. I'm going to go into some of that in a minute. But just for those of you who you like to believe this notion that we're so inferior. If we're so inferior, why is it that during slavery you had to have the black man or the black woman cooking your food? Why would you take a savage out of a jungle and bring them into your kitchen to cook your food? All of your food during so-called slavery was because we were the cooks. We knew about seasoning, we knew about spices, we knew about how to cook. White people, you didn't have a clue. Why did we suckle your babies on our breast? This is where you get the term mammy, mammary gland. Why did we, the black woman, suckle the white children on her breast? Why would you put your baby on the breast of a black woman who you believe to be a savage? No, you wouldn't do that. You put the baby on that black breast because you knew that the milk was full of power and energy for your little white child to grow up and to become another white racist. This is the reality of what we as a people have been through, and we want to dispel your mythical ideas about your supremacy and our inferiority. You don't know, but many of the things that you take for granted today, everyday household items that you use, these were invented by black people just coming out of slavery. But in those days, we were not allowed to patent anything that we designed or made. And so the white man would put his name on it and take credit for what we created, what we developed. And then those things come into everyday use, and you think that this is the white man's doing. We hear some people sometime, I think it was last week, somebody was saying to us, oh, you're criticizing the white man, but you're dressed like the white man. And so we have to put them right. We're the ones who were the first human beings on the planet to wear clothes. Oh yes, because again, you've been watching too many Tarzan films. One little white man running around in the jungle. He can talk to the animals. The Africans who have been there for thousands of years, we're as dumb as hell. We can't talk to the animals, but Tarzan, he can command the elephant. He can talk to the lion. He can get from one end of Africa to the other in about 20 minutes on a vine system. More superior to London Underground. This is how delusional you are in your white supremacy mindset. We taught you how to dress. We are the people who introduced you to clothes. When we were wearing silken garments, when Egypt was in a decline 6,000 years ago, the white man wasn't even a thought. But 4,000 years ago, according to your own history books, you were in the caves and hillsides of Europe grunting. Grunting. The Caucasian man, the white man, just a few hundred years ago, you thought the earth was flat. And you thought if you went too far out into the ocean, you'd fall off the edge. This is what you thought. But the black man had already circumnavigated the entire planet. In fact, we were doing intergalactic flights in and out of the planet Earth. white man is shaking his head. Really? Oh man, you're gonna learn some things about the black man very soon. And by the way, those of you who are getting real nervous, those of you who are getting scared about the potential of an invasion of little green men from Mars on UFOs, I can tell you right now, there are no little green men coming. But the pilots of those vehicles that you call unidentified flying objects, they look like me. They look like me. And they are not from some alien place. They're from right here, with a superior technology that you can only dream about. That you can only dream about. And the powers that be, your rulers, your leaders, they know who are the pilots. That's why UFOs are classified above top secret. You cannot learn about them. And they keep feeding you ideas of ETs with long arms. Ooh. To get you all spooky, thinking about some aliens that are like blobs of jelly. And you're expecting some creepy little thing to come one day. Black men pilot those vehicles. And we dare the powers that be to challenge us on this. Because we have the proof.